My name is Barnabas Collins. 2 centuries ago, I made Collinwood my home.
My love.
Until a jealous witch cursed me, condemning me to the shadows.
What have you done?
For all time.
I love the fact when Barnabas wakes up, he has to get acclimated with this new strange world. And I was thinking, hypothetically, how funny would it be if he were to wake up on a Tim Burton set and be in one of your earlier films? Which of your films do you think he would have had the most fun interacting with?
Well, he probably would have been most at home in Ed Wood, because if somebody mentioned this, if I look at the style of what Dark Shadows was, it is strangely like an Ed Wood movie.
Yeah.
That same kind of weird world that's kind of dramatic and strange, and so he probably would have adjusted best to that one for some reason.
Now, I love the line in the film when they're talking about David, and they say, as long as it makes him happy, it doesn't matter what he believes. And I just thought it was a brilliant line. I thought about you when you were like a kid and you were in school and teachers were not really understanding your creativity and your content. And how did you keep yourself from getting discouraged? And was it because you were happy with what you were doing that kept you going?
Well, I was lucky to have like one, as long as you have like one teacher. I had one art teacher that, didn't think I was weird and just sort of accepted, like tried to get see people for who they were and then let them explore things within their, realm, which helped them to grow as people. And there was not a lot of that going on. There was a lot of categorization of people. And so that sort of, if you were lucky enough to have anybody in your life that kind of let you sort of grow as to what you wanted to be, that's a real amazing, bit of help that everybody kind of deserves, but you don't often get.
What the hell is this?
He's coming. He's coming.
Hear me, future dweller. What is the year?
1972.
1972.
I have to say, 30 years ago, you created one of the greatest short films of all time with Vincent. And now, 30 years later, you're directing Dark Shadows. And this career you've had has been absolutely incredible. What is the one thing you are still learning as a filmmaker today? What is the one thing you have yet to master, in your opinion?
Well, I think you're always learning. I think that's the fun of making a film. Each one feels like it's the first one, which is good. Otherwise, you'd feel kind of either bored or jaded or whatever. So, you're always working with new people, so you gain things from them. People surprise you, actors, whatever. That's why, I work with people that I've worked with, also work with a lot of new people on this, and it's just constant surprise. And I think that's the gift of it, and that's what you always want to keep remembering. As soon as you think you learn something, there's something new to come around, and that's the beauty of film. Is like it's always a surprise, and there's more you can remember that, the better off you are.
I think you do a brilliant job of taking an original source material and making it your own, with Willy Wonka and obviously with Batman. What is that difference and that balance as a director of creating something, paying homage to the original source material, but also still adding your own style?
Well, that's the thing about this one. It was weird. You wouldn't want to, if you look at episodes of the show, you don't really want to, then you would have like an Ed Wood movie for real.
Right.
So part of it was just trying to capture the spirit of how it made me feel watching it. It's interesting because if you talk to somebody like Johnny or Michelle who were fans, when they talk about it, it's always with affection, I mean, even the show's very serious. People that were fans talk about it with a sense of fun and affection to it. So, you were trying to balance more like not remaking the show, but giving the spirit of it, that how it made some of us feel.
Right.
So it has a mixture of feelings.
Hypothetically, if you were to look all over all your films, look at your famous characters that you've created, and you can create the ultimate Tim Burton scene and put 3 or 4 of your famous characters in that scene together and interact, what would be that scene?
God. That sounds like a bad ice show or theater, that sounds like something I'll be doing near the end of my life, which maybe could be any time now, but no. I mean, I think that, no, that's the thing about it. I don't really think, I've always just enjoyed doing it. It's hard for me to go back and watch the films, but if I looked at pictures of all the characters, I feel it's always great to see them all together. It's like your weird, twisted family,
Well, congratulations to you. It's absolutely awesome.
Thanks, man.
My beloved Collinwood.
The Collins family.
Who the hell is this?
I'm a vampire, madam. Yeah.
He's not staying with us forever, is he?
I like him.
Oh, super fat.
Welcome home, Barnabas Collins.
How soon can the horses be ready?
We don't have horses. We have a Chevy.
I love the whole idea of you having to keep this secret. And when he shows up, you have to keep a secret from your family that he's a vampire. And I was thinking, hypothetically, if you could go back through your previous characters, which one of your earlier characters would have had the best intentions of keeping a secret, and which one would have been the worst secret keeper?
Oh my gosh, what a hard question. Okay, probably the best secret keeper maybe would have been Elvira.
Yes.
And the worst secret keeper maybe would have been, I don't know, maybe the part I just played in New Year's Eve.
Yes. Yes.
Was that your answer too?
That's a great answer. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that. Then I was like,
Do I get a prize?
You do.
Okay.
You get a prize of. That's a great question. A great answer. I was thinking about your character from Dangerous Minds, like sitting there across from Coolio in the video. She's a good secret keeper, I think. She would have been good.
Yeah.
She's a badass.
But she's also a truth teller too.
Yes.
All in one.
What sorcery is this?
Reveal yourself, tiny songstress.
Hello, Barnabas. Remember me?
Witch, you cursed me to be this hideous creature. You may strategically place your wonderful lips upon my posterior and kiss it repeatedly.
What if I made you love me?
With what a spell.
With this?
I must admit, they have not aged a day.
She for real?
Indeed.
Looking back 20 years ago when you made Batman Returns, and looking at that director, Tim Burton, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, what is a key difference and a key similarity you see now in 2012 working with him in Dark Shadows?
You know, he actually kept asking me that, have I changed? I think that he's, well, I think that, I think that he has a family now, and I think that he's probably happier in his personal life, even though I didn't really know him, on a real personal level when we worked together before. But in terms of, he'll be the first to say that, he's got this amazing family now. And, but in terms of the way he works, it was so long ago, it's not like I have sort of crystal clear memories of it, but he just seems the same to me. He has the same joy and enthusiasm and unbelievable attention to detail, that could have waned over the years, but he's sort of tireless. The wheels are always turning. He's always sort of thinking. I don't think there's any downtime in there.
Right. Now, I was reading you were completely geeking out about this, and as for audience members, like we watch movies, I geek out all the time. I know you were geeking out about taking this role because you were a fan of the TV show. So, as an actress, when you take on a role that you are a fan of, what is the difference between taking on a role as a fan or taking on a role of material you are not too familiar with, and how do you differentiate that as an actress?
Well, I think there's obviously an added excitement and an added energy and enthusiasm for things that you're really jazzed about, and I think one of the, it can feel like a lot of pressure if it's material that a lot of people that are already familiar with, parts people have already played, but I think because Tim definitely was bringing his own vision to it, and everyone expects him to bring his own vision to it, it sort of liberated us and sort of took the ownness off us. So people won't blame us, they'll blame Tim.
Blame Tim. Terrible job, Tim.
If I can't have you, I'll destroy you. And your family.
Missed me. I shall restore the family business to its former glory.
Burn, baby, burn.
Fight on, Barnabas. Fight on for us.
And fight I shall.
And he has this whole eye-opening experience because he's a stranger in a strange world, and he's kind of trying to get acclimated, and everybody's kind of judging him because he's from a different century, of course. What was that moment for you when you walked on a movie set and you had that eye-opening experience, like when you realized, wow, this is what I'm doing, this is who I'm going to be for the rest of my life?
I don't know of the specific moment of that, but for me, I do remember as a young kid and as a teenager, I always, people would say, so what are you going to do when you grow up? Or, and I always knew, well, I was going to be an actor. But, that only kind of went so far because, between the ages of 30 and 45, this whole thing had drifted away and then kind of magically came back.
Right. And for you?
from a very early age, I really was decided what I was going to do. It's a sort of family business for me as well, you know, my grandfather and father and stuff. So you know, I kind of have a horrible sense of entitlement.
Right. Now, your first set.
I was 5. I actually remember this very well. I was with Simon Baker, and I had the biggest crush on him. I absolutely loved him so much because he was Australian. He had this little voice. I was like, oh my god, I love him. And he gave me a yo-yo. And I was like, oh my god. And I still have that yo-yo, and it says The Guardian. It's like 2007, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I love him. He gave me a yo-yo. I was learning all these tricks, and yeah, it was interesting, but...
My first time was with Joel Edgerton. He's an Aussie actor.
Yeah,
I had a scene with him, and I just remember this really weird, like, Norwegian accent. He gave me a yo-yo. No, he didn't.
He gave me a yo-yo.
He scared the heck out of me. He was terrifying. Not as a person, as in the scene.
Oh.
Yeah.
First day of shooting was on a Bertolucci film. I was like 20. And it was very scary because, you know, you always wonder, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I'm not going to measure up. And I think, yeah, it's towards the end of the film, the shooting, you kind of realize, okay, I haven't gotten fired, so I think that's all right. But you question yourself all the time in this business, you know. You always think, you know, on every experience, it might be over because, you know, you depend on the desire of other people and you can't take anything for granted.
Love me.
Never. Was a regrettable turn of events.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.